San Diego, it's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime use.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
What's up, San Diego? And a happy Thursday, everybody out there in America's finest city. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show alongside Frank Marchese, taking up to 2 o'clock today, and Gwen and Chris before another replay of the roundtable, which we just had. A fun roundtable, as always. Getting to talk with all the boys about San Diego Padres baseball. If you missed any of the roundtable, you can go back and watch it on YouTube. It's already posted on YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts, or you can wait till 5 o'clock and watch it today at 5. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973 is the number to join the show today. We got a packed show on hand today for the real opener of college football. And Skyler will join us at 1 o'clock today to get our college football picks. We got 17 games today in college football. The first game kicking off at 2:30 on ESPN, Boise State at South Florida. We'll talk all about that in the 1 o'clock hour as we get you ready for the college football season. San Diego State Aztec football in action tonight against Stony Brook. They will kick off at 7, I think it's 7:30 or 7. I think they're at 7:30 tonight. I have to double check that for you guys. But that will be on tonight as well. Padres off day today. And we get you ready for a weekend series against the Minnesota Twins. At 11:35, Brandon Moore, head football coach of the USD Toreros football team, will be joining us to give us a preview of their upcoming game on Saturday against Cal Poly as USD football kicks off over the weekend. Aztec football, as I mentioned, will kick off tonight. Mark Neville, CEO of Sports San Diego, will join us at noon. They announced the date of the Holiday Bowl earlier today. So we will talk to him about the new date for the Holiday Bowl here in 2025, which is actually going to be in 2026. And then at 1:35 today, we're going to talk with Eddie Brown, get you some fantasy football, all mixed in with Padres baseball. Today, I will be on safe travels to the Cathedral Catholic Dons, obviously for football. They're flying up today to San Jose. I will be joining them later after the show. Somebody in the chat has asked. Antonio's asked. Yes, I'm flying up with the team, or not with the team, but I'm meeting them there after our show today. That's where I'll be broadcasting from tomorrow with high school football. We have lots to talk about in tomorrow's show as well. But let's talk about the series in Seattle. And yesterday's game in Seattle before we talk about the week in Seattle. Again, the Padres had a rough time with the Seattle Mariners all season long. They end up going 1-5 against Seattle this year. 1-5, which is not great. But at the same time, when you look at yesterday and you look at, really Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of this week, I did like the way that the Padres battled back a lot. And I'm not overly concerned about what the outcome was from yesterday's game. I mean, Wu looked pretty good yesterday. Brian Wu looked pretty good. He's 12-7 on the year. He's got a sub-3 ERA. He's been great for the Mariners all season long. Yu Darvish was good with the exception of one inning. I mean, the fourth inning is where things kind of unraveled. We talked about that a little bit on the roundtable today. But overall, this week in Seattle, there was nothing that really came up too much that was of legitimate concern. I think you can make the case that the starting pitching this week was a little concerning because of the inconsistency of the starting pitching for the San Diego Padres. I can understand that. But at the same time, I think you have to look into what the playoff rotation is going to look like, what are playoff games going to look like, and the teams that usually do the best in the postseason are teams that have legit bullpens. And the Padres bullpen is legit. I know they kind of gave up a little bit in the last couple of nights. I mean, it's a good team that Seattle's got. And it's hard to win series on the road against teams above 500. Padres haven't really been able to do that all year. And it's not just the Padres that have been able to do it. A lot of the good teams in Major League Baseball haven't been able to do it. It's hard to win on the road against good baseball teams. You're going to lose some of those games. So you go back to yesterday. Mariners jumped out to a 4-0 lead, but I like the way the Padres battled back in the 6th and got 2 runs in the 6th inning. I like how they again battled in the 9th inning, made it a 1-run game. They had multiple opportunities yesterday to get runs in, and they didn't go away, and they didn't roll over and die. Overall, looking at the lineup, Fernando, 2 for 5. He's starting to put the ball towards the fence. He's starting to get extra base hits. He looks like he's starting to settle in a little bit, which is great to see. Hopefully he can build off of that. Ryan O'Hearn, another knock yesterday. His average is up to 280. His OPS is up to 833. Xander Bogaerts, 1 for 4 yesterday. Gavin Sheets is playing his way into the Padres lineup, and that's with expecting Jackson Merrill to be back relatively soon, as he goes 2 for 4 with an RBI. Jose Iglesias was 1 for 3. Jake Cronenworth 1 for 2. Padres, again, not the best with runners in scoring position, but a lot better than they were the first couple of days. They were 3 for 10 yesterday with runners in scoring position. So you look at yesterday's game, hard-fought game, had a bad inning, one bad inning out of Yu Darvish. But aside from that, you're playing a pretty good team in Seattle. There's nothing really too much to freak out about when it comes to the San Diego Padres. And I want to dive into some of the things that we learned this week. We're going to continue that in the next segment as well. Padres dropped their season series to the Mariners. Seattle won 5 of 6 and 14-4 over the past 4 seasons, highlighting San Diego's struggles again against contenders. While the Padres' playoff odds remain sky high, there are a couple of cracks showing, but I don't think they're that many. I don't think they're too much of a concern. Now, one of them could be like the contenders problem. And when you look at the Padres and you look at what they've done in road series against contenders, they're 1-9 in road series against current playoff teams. The Padres have only beaten one current playoff team in a 3-game series or a 4-game series on the road. Only one. They're 26-35 overall versus teams 500 or better. The only playoff team with a losing record in that split. But they have won 4 of their last 6 such series, and much of the damage came earlier in the year when they had like April, May, where a lot of their pitchers were guys that aren't even pitching for the Padres anymore, or not even part of the rotation as laid out by Kevin Acee in today's newsletter. The rotation thing is kind of interesting to me. We talked about it briefly yesterday. Overall, with the Padres, when it comes to the rotation questions, and we were asked about on the roundtable. I didn't really answer it today, but I was going to answer it during our show. It's like what you do with Dylan Cease. And what do you do with Yu Darvish? I mean, those are the 2 question marks for that third starter, right? As of right now, as bad as like it might have seemed in yesterday's game, I still think Yu Darvish pitched fairly well. He had a blow-up inning, which is not great. Things kind of unraveled. Ben talked about the fact that the Padres have out-hit their opponents by a large margin, but the problem is, the opponents are putting the ball over the fence more times than the Padres are, so they're getting less hits, but when they hit the ball, they're getting a lot of runs off of it, which is obviously a problem for Padres pitching. But you look at the starting rotation for the playoffs, and we talked about it again yesterday, because the question was, what do you do with Dylan Cease and his inconsistencies? Like the same thing is true for, Yu Darvish. So you look at what the rotation might be for the postseason. And I think you got to know that Michael King and Nick Pivetta are going to start the first 2 games, however order you want to have it. Now, Michael King should be coming back relatively soon from the injured list. But if you look at a situation which the Padres are playing in a wild card series, all things lining up, all things considered, Michael King starts game 1, Nick Pivetta starts game 2, vice versa. And then if you have to get to a game 3, got to figure out who's starting game 3. Is it you, Darvish, or is it Dylan Cease? And if you do get to game 3, that means you do have to have a 4th starter because you need somebody to start the divisional series. I think a lot of people are still holding out hope for a guy like Joe Musgrove to potentially pitch. I don't think you should really be holding your breath on that one. But you look at the first series, right? If they win in 2 and it doesn't go the distance, that means you could go with a 3rd starter to start the first game of the divisional series. And in the divisional series, you can go your first 2 guys twice. So you could theoretically go King and Pivetta, then get to your 3rd guy, which I think would be you, Darvish, right now, and then go back to King and then to Pivetta, where you don't even need Dylan Cease. Dylan Cease, to me, is a player that I would have start a game in the playoffs. He goes through one time, see how he's doing in the 4th inning, and in the 4th inning, start getting a guy loose. So if a runner gets on base, he might have to face one more batter. Hopefully he keeps it in the yard, and then you pull the trigger on getting a bullpen piece in for Dylan Cease. That's how I'd kind of handle Dylan Cease. I don't know if you want to have Dylan Cease come out of the bullpen after an opener. I think that's an interesting move. Ben Higgins talked about that today on the roundtable. Like, you go with the Wandy Peralta. Like, if you're playing the Dodgers, you go with the Wandy Peralta to start the game, face 2 of the lefties, have him go through 1 inning, then Dylan Cease can come in for a couple. They did it with Randy Vasquez. I'm not overly concerned about the rotation for the playoffs. Slightly concerned about it for finishing the year, but the Padres have now built themselves into enough of a lead over the Cincinnati Reds that they are in a comfortable playoff position. Now it's just a matter of trying to tracking down some other teams. But what did we learn this week in Seattle? There's a couple of other talking points that I want to get to. Some of it involved the lineup, and some of it involved Freddie Fermin's workload, as well as what do you do with Gavin Sheets now, who's been hitting .378 with a 1209 OPS since August 11th. Fully recap what happened in the Mariners series, what we learned from it, and how the Padres can use that to get ready for the Minnesota Twins. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant, just getting started on a Thursday on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. Baseball talk on 97 to the Fans presented by Paramount Plus. Can't count on much these days, but you can always count on Sundays, the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. Watch your local NFL game live every Sunday on CBS and Paramount Plus all season long. Visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started today. Welcome back, Frank. Getting everything set up for when Skyler shows up.
Yep. So this way we're not running around like a couple of idiots getting everything ready at the last second.
Like we usually do.
Yeah, that.
Nice.
That one.
I love it. I love it. Had college football today, Frank. 17 college football games today.
Exactly.
Get excited. What's the best game of the day? Boise State, South Florida?
I would have
probably?
to say, I mean, if you're looking for just ranked matches, I would say, hold on, let me get...
That's the only ranked matchup tonight.
If you're not following Projection Sports on Twitter...
Do it.
Yeah, definitely, because they're very, very, very good about posting like what games are on, what channels they're going to be on, at what times. You got a double dip on the Big Ten Network, Ohio, Rutgers, Miami of Ohio, Wisconsin. That'll be a good one.
Doubleheader on ESPN.
Yep, doubleheader on ESPN. I might partake in Buffalo, Minnesota on FS1. I'll be at San Diego State tonight.
You're a sicko watching that game.
Hey, listen, Buffalo was my rebuild dynasty last year.
There you go.
That's why.
There it is.
That's the only reason why.
The Nebraska-Cincinnati game from Arrowhead's kind of sick.
Yes. Did you see the videos that were posted yesterday of Nebraska's end zone?
It looks terrible.
Yeah, it's got the Chiefs outline still in it.
Yeah.
And somebody said, if this is anything but a rough draft, I would be livid.
Oh, that's Josh Pate said that. Josh Pate said that. If there's anything less than a rough draft, it will be heard when I become commissioner. After me, buddy.
Got a ton of games on ESPN Plus too. Lafayette, Bowling Green, Jacksonville State, UCF, Wyoming, Akron, Delaware State versus Delaware. Their first game is an FBS program. Sorry. St. Francis, UL Monroe, UT Martin, Oklahoma State, Elon, Duke, Stephen F. Austin versus Houston, Alabama State versus UAB. Those are all going to be on ESPN Plus tonight.
Stony Brook at San Diego State, Mountain West Network / KUSI tonight. Stephen F. Austin at Houston's intriguing to me. I'll watch all the Big 12 games, or at least I'll try to, in my hotel room tonight. But that's college football for tonight. We got some big games again tomorrow as well. Into Saturday, into the weekend. We'll talk more about that with Skyler coming up at 1 o'clock.
And it is a 7 p.m. kickoff for San Diego
State.
7
p.m. kickoff. We do want to talk about what happened this week in Padres land, what we learned from Padres land in just a second. Do want to get to your phone calls today, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Juan in Oceanside, you kick things off. What's going on, Juan?
How's it going, Braden? Hope you're having a good one. I'm excited for college football today. Just to watch football that matters is super exciting. But I wanted to talk about the week for the Padres. And I feel like this is probably one of the first times this whole season where I didn't have any glaring concerns with the roster or anything that particularly happened. It just seems like a good team beat another good team. You know, Seattle has really tough pitching and they don't give up anything for free, and they have a powerful offense that can, you know, punch you in the mouth when necessary. But in terms of any concerns that I could have, it just seems to me like Dylan Cease out of the stretch position continues to have problems. If one thing happens that affects, or if any players get on bases, everything gets affected and it just kind of spirals. And, you know, I kind of just want to know what you think his role should be in a postseason matchup between any team, especially the Dodgers, where if he should be an opener or even a closer, since he is a power pitcher, he can throw 99. I mean, I can't imagine he starts any postseason game where he goes through the lineup 1, 2, 3 times. Just want to get your thoughts.
I think, and I kind of mentioned this a little bit during the open. I think he has to be a guy that starts the game and goes through the order once, and that's it. And see how he's doing. And I wouldn't just like pull him immediately, right? I mean, if he's out there, and here's the thing, like Ben Higgins brought this up, and it's what makes it so difficult to deal with Dylan Cease. He'll retire like 13 in a row. and have a perfect game going, and then it's like walk, base hit, home run, and now you're down 3-0. And you're in like the fourth inning. And then what do you do? Right? So from that perspective, I could see why you're playing with fire with this guy. He could go out there and have perfect game stuff. Not just like no-hit stuff. Perfect game stuff. And then all of a sudden it's one knock after a walk or two, and is boom. Crazy. I mean, it's crazy to me where he's at. But in terms of like having to start a playoff game, I'm not putting Dylan Cease in the bullpen. I think he's fine as a starting pitcher. I think you're going to need him to start games for you. And so I think he's got to be a guy that starts a game, and then he's got a short leash, and you got to be ready for another pitcher, starting pitcher, ready to go behind him, like a Nestor Cortez. I think that's going to work out. I'd let Pivetta be a starter on his own. I'd let Michael King be a starter on his own. I'd let Yu Darvish be a starter on his own. Maybe get a bullpen guy ready to go on a night that Darvish is pitching, but I trust him in the postseason as a savvy vet. And then I'd probably have Nestor Cortez piggyback with Dylan Cease. First time through the order. Good. Have Nestor Cortez try to make it through 2 innings. That's 5 innings right there. Maybe 6 if you really feel good about the way Dylan Cease is pitching. And then 7, 8, 9, go to the bullpen. 6, 7, 8, 9, go to the bullpen. I mean, you have 5 dudes back there that can all throw. And then the other ones that are not members of your 5 elite pitchers back there are still solid bullpen arms, with the exception of Yuki Matsui. And I don't know if Yuki Matsui is even going to make a playoff roster. I mean, I don't know how you could keep him on a playoff roster. I'd rather have Randy Vasquez on the playoff roster than Yuki Matsui. I'd much rather have that. Maybe that's another play. Maybe you do the opener day and Vasquez is like in part of a bullpen day. It's a lot of different ways to do it. And I think the strategy changes a little bit in the postseason. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's get out to Charles and Ramona. Charles, what's going on, man?
Hey, how you doing today?
Doing well.
Hey, I'm actually on my way to Vegas, courtesy of 97.3 The Fan.
Nice. A qualifier for a grand prize winner. I love it.
I am. But anyhow, I was just saying, if Nestor Cortez continues to pitch for the rest of the season like he did against the Dodgers, then I don't think it's even a matter of like what are we going to do. I think if Cortez is in, Cease is the opener or the reliever, because if Cortez can continue to get better and turn into nasty Cortez, I trust him 10 times more than I trust Dylan Cease right now. So I don't see why that would be such a stretch to think that if Cortez can get back to his old self and be consistent for the rest of the year, why we wouldn't trust him with a start over Dylan Cease.
I just think Nestor Cortez, and I appreciate the phone call, Charles. I just think Nestor Cortez can come out of the bullpen more than, Dylan Cease. I mean, is that something? Has Dylan Cease ever done that? It's a different level. Like it's a different animal, right? So I feel more comfortable with Nestor Cortez coming out of a bullpen than I do Dylan Cease coming out of a bullpen. It's a mindset thing. So from that perspective, that's why I'd rather have Dylan Cease start the game. Let him just do his routine. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We're going to continue this conversation in the next hour. We're going to talk about what we learned from this week in Padres baseball against the Seattle Mariners. And there's a couple of things that I want to get to. Obviously, the lineup construction. You got to see Ramon Laureano yesterday, didn't get a hit in the number 2 spot. I still think that needs to be tried out a little bit. I mean, Luis Arraez right now is hitting a $190 something in the last 16 games. And we'll talk more about that later on. I mean, it's a big talking point. I know some people are sick and tired of listening to it. I'm tired of really talking about it, but it's continuing to be a talking point for the Padres. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about what are you going to do with Gavin Sheets? That guy's like played himself into a starting role. which I guess is a good problem to have. A lot of things we learned out of this series from Seattle that we're going to get to in the next hour. But when we come back, head football coach of the USD Toreros, Brandon Moore, joins us on the Braden Surprenant Show. Talking a lot of Padres baseball on the Braden Surprenant show, like we do each and every day. But today is the beginning of the college football, the real kind of beginning of the college football season. We had a little bit of a taste with week 0. This week, we got games on today, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday in Division I college football. We have both of our teams in action this weekend at the D1 level. San Diego State will kick off tonight. And coming up on Saturday, Cal Poly at USD, 5 o'clock game over at Torero Stadium. Get to play under the lights a little bit for the Toreros, which is fun. And joining me now on the Braden Surprenant show, a great coach, a great man, somebody that I've gotten to know a little bit now, working over at USD, getting geared up for his 3rd season as the head football coach at the University of San Diego. Head coach Brandon Moore joins me on the Braden Surprenant show. Brandon, what's going on? How's your Thursday going?
How you doing, Braden? It's going well. It's going well. Just tying up some loose ends.
Getting excited to finally hit somebody else. That's always fun, getting ready for a game coming up for first game of the season.
Especially for the players, man. Definitely a great opportunity coming up for them this weekend.
Let's talk a little bit about, your time now as the USD Toreros head football coach. First year, obviously a lot of things that was out of your control that you guys had to handle. Last year, you guys had a really good season, just came up a little bit short for the Pioneer League Championship. What are your goals and aspirations here now heading into year 3 where you have been picked to be the top team in the Pioneer League?
Well, as always, every year we just talk about being 1-0, taking it week by week, really focusing on one game at a time. And right now our focus is on Cal Poly and putting on a good show and coming up with a win, hopefully, in that game.
Got Cal Poly coming up on Saturday, and that's a team that you were able to beat last year. It's a nice little tester for a team as yourself, a non-scholarship Division I football team going against the Big Sky School. You got a very difficult schedule after that as well. But what are some of the things that Cal Poly brings, that will be some challenges for you guys on Saturday?
Oh, it's always difficult, just in our margins, just being non-scholarship is always one of those difficult things to overcome. Cal Poly does a great job spreading the ball around and dealing it out. I mean, defensively they had success with Ponder last year, and he was fortunate enough to make the Patriots roster this year. And we're just looking to see what kind of scheme and what kind of personnel they throw at us in this game. The first week is always difficult, just in the sense that both teams are brand new, so nobody knows each other, and they've had some coaching turnover as well. Brought in a new offensive coordinator, or promoted a new offensive coordinator, so I'm sure that some things will be the same, but whatever style he has, we're still waiting to see.
You guys have made some changes too, obviously, and you've brought in a new offensive coordinator with Coach Aponte moving on to a different spot. Obviously, a decent amount of seniors from a year ago that have moved on. Tell us a little bit about what fans here in town can expect from the 2025 USD Toreros.
Well, I think Nick Fulton's offense works at a little bit of a faster pace, and we'll spread the ball around a little bit. You'll see some more names, hopefully, pop up on the statistics board. And essentially, I think Nick prides himself on being able to coach a quarterback and put him in some situations that are going to be advantageous to him.
We're talking with USD football head coach Brandon Moore on the Braden Surprenant show, getting ready for a game against Cal Poly coming up on Saturday at Torero Stadium at 5 o'clock. Game will be broadcasted on ESPN+. I'll have the call with Jack Cronin in that game, but you can also go out and support USD athletics as well over there at Torero Stadium. Should be a fun game against Cal Poly. Defensively, you guys have a co-defensive coordinator group. Had a really good year last year defensively. I thought your guys' defense played extremely well throughout the entire season. Sounds like you got a decent amount of guys coming back, but tell us a little about your defense, Coach.
Well, the two coordinators I got, Mike McGlinchey and Isaac Carter, we built the system together a couple of years ago. They were my first two hires coming in the USD. Just excited just about how the defense has developed, the changes that have been made over the years, and how they continue to play at a high level, play fast-paced, and get after it.
We're talking with head coach Brandon Moore of the USD Toreros here on the Braden Surprenant show. So we talked about the offense, talked about the defense, and knowing some people around USD, a team that usually plays during the day, got a lot of day games, but first couple of games at home, get to play at night. Sounds like you were an advocate for trying to get a couple of night games. What was that like, and how excited are your guys to play under the lights the first couple of games here?
No, we wanted to attract some fans and get some guys in the seats. Last year we were able to sell out our home opener versus Poly, and we look to do the same this year. I think we're a couple hundred seats away from being sold out, which would be another great opportunity and another great experience for our players. But I just think it just adds to that San Diego skyline, and being able to see that in a great venue is great experience for our fans and great experience for our players.
Obviously, in this day and age of college football, there's a lot of NIL and everything going around for the major, power programs. A lot of the Group of Five programs are trying to find their way. Then you get to the FCS level, and then you get to, non-scholarship teams like yourself. I mean, for you in recruiting these last couple of years, what are some of the benefits of USD that can help you, that helps you, get the players that you want either in the transfer portal or some of the local high school talent?
Well, generally we sell the city of San Diego. Once we get kids on campus, the university kind of sells itself. So we're selling experience here. We're selling a high caliber degree, and we're selling a network where you can have success outside of the game.
The last thing I kind of wanted to talk about in terms of, you guys' squad, here in San Diego, we love watching our own players stay in town, play for the local colleges, whether it be San Diego State or USD. I know you guys got a handful of local players on the team. Who are some of the local names that a lot of fans out there will recognize when they see them play for the Toreros this year?
Well, I can tell you the one name. We just named our starting quarterback, Dom Nankill, who had a tremendous amount of success at Mater Dei up in Chula Vista. And, we're really excited about the camp he's had and a really tight QB battle that he had with Tyler Larson. And I think he's primed to have a great year. He's young. He's got, but also has a tremendous amount of experience. He started his first game of his freshman year. So we're looking to capitalize on his success and try to take this offense and this team to another level.
It's going to be fun watching you guys play. Brandon, we appreciate the time as always. Good luck this season.
Thanks, Braden. It's great talking to you again.
Brandon Moore, USD head football coach, joining us on the Braden Surprenant show. They got a game against Cal Poly coming up on Saturday at 5:00. You can watch it on ESPN+. You can also go out and support. It's a fun place to go watch some college football. And USD's got some talent. They're a very talented football team. Cal Poly is going to be a good tester for them. A scholarship team in the Big Sky Conference in the FCS. Again, USD is a non-scholarship Division I football team, but they definitely play to a higher level than that. And it's going to be fun watching them play the first couple of weeks of the season. They open up against Cal Poly. They'll play Southern Utah on September 6th here at home at Torero Stadium at 6:00. And then they got a couple of tough road games. They're going to go to Montana State, one of the best teams in college football at the FCS level, and they got to go at Princeton before they start their Pioneer League schedule. So should be a fun year for the USD Toreros. Again, projected to finish first in the Pioneer Conference. If they do finish first, they will make the FCS playoffs. Their playoffs are 24 teams making the playoffs. I don't know why the FBS doesn't do that, but I digress. So nice to get a little preview for USD football. Aztec football starts tonight as well. Love talking college football here on the show, Frank.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. And the start of the year always brings a bunch of new promise and new hope. And you hope to get off on the right foot, especially if you're one of those teams that are expected to win or at least be extra competitive in your conference.
You'll be at the Aztec game tonight. I'll be at the USD game on Saturday. We'll
Yep.
get you the full recap on Monday. We have to dive into other things that are going on in the sports world. It's time for the day's sports thread.
You know that group chat? The one that's always blowing up with the biggest sports takes, debates, and breaking news?
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me?
Yeah, we've got that too. Welcome to the Sports Thread, where we break down the top 5 stories in sports, just like you would with your crew.
Oh, no! Disaster! What a bad idea!
No No filters, no silence, just real talk.
All right, Frank, what do we got today? Non-Padres news.
We have got quite a bit of college football stuff coming in today.
Number one.
Awesome.
Ohio State head coach Ryan Day has one message for his freshman quarterback, Julian Sayin. Want to take a guess at what it was?
Don't suck. Have a take, don't suck.
More or less. It was just win. Just find a way to win.
Just win, baby.
Thank you very much. All eyes will be on Sayin and new Texas starting quarterback Arch Manning in the showdown at Ohio Stadium. It is a rematch of last year's college football playoff semifinal when both players watched from the sidelines as Will Howard and Ohio State eliminated Quinn Ewers and Texas on the way to winning the national championship. Both Sayin and Manning were five-star recruits coming out of high school. Manning started 2 games in Austin last year when Ewers suffered an injury. Sayin attempted only 12 passes last year in mop-up duty. Is there something more constructive that a coach can say other than, hey, just don't suck?
I mean, there's only so much you could potentially tell some of these kids. The other thing, too, is you don't want to psych them out either with, like, just, paralysis by analysis. So, yeah, try to just keep it simple.
Yeah, just
keep it simple.
Just do what got you here. You're the starting quarterback at Ohio State for a reason. Just do that.
Go represent San Diego well. We hope so.
That's another one. You have the entire city of San Diego hanging on this decision. So you'll be all right. Don't worry. Go get him, kid.
Number 2.
You get to take on Peyton and Eli's nephew. Have fun. And they're number 1 team in the country.
Have
Texas.
fun.
At least you're at home at the Horseshoe.
That is a
You'll
big,
have like 100,000 of your closest friends there helping you out.
That is going to be a huge help for him. Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice has accepted a 6-game suspension for violating the NFL's personal conduct policy and will start serving the suspension at the beginning of the season. The NFL announced yesterday that Rice will be eligible to return the Chiefs' Week 7 game ahead of their October 19th matchup against the Las Vegas Raiders. He has been scheduled for disciplinary hearings with the league on September 30th. Back in July, Rice was sentenced to 30 days in jail and 5 years for probation for his role in a multi-car crash in Dallas that left multiple people injured during last offseason. For something like this, 6-game suspension, I think I heard that the Chiefs wanted him to what's the word? He wanted to fight it. They wanted him to fight the suspension. He said he's not going to. He's just going to take it. For a suspension for something like that, should it be longer or is 6 games just about right?
I don't know any of the. I mean, the NFL suspensions usually don't make any sense.
That's true.
I guess. I don't know. That was kind of what he did was pretty crazy. So I don't know. He had his punishment in the court of law. He's got his punishment for the NFL. As long as he serves it, I think we're ready to move on for Rashee Rice, and hopefully he's better in the future.
25-year-old kid, too. And thank you, Go Aztecs. Appeal was the word I was looking for.
Number 3.
English are hard.
Yes, English are very hard. The New York Knicks, as we spoke about a lot when I started on the show, were looking for a head coach. Well, it was just announced one of the candidates that they actually interviewed. Had the New York Knicks hired their head coaching job to South Carolina's women's basketball coach, Dawn Staley, who had a formal interview for the position, she said she 100% would have taken it. I would have had to, Staley said, quote, I would have had to do it, not just for me, but for women to break that door open. I would have had to do it. It's the New York Knicks. I'm from Philly, but it's the freaking New York Knicks. I shot myself in the foot by being inquisitive and asking all of those darn questions. That there has to be a first. There's always going to be a first with someone like this. Would Dawn Staley have been the right fit in New York? And would she have been the right person, do you think, to be in the NBA?
I don't know. I mean, she's done a really good job at college level. I mean, she's built South Carolina into a phenomenal program. I mean, maybe that would be the case, but the first one's always gonna be the most difficult.
Yeah,
it's always difficult being the first. So, if she would have got the job, probably would have been a cool story and see how it would have reacted. But I don't know if she would have been the right fit for the New York Knicks. Who knows? But I guess we'll never know.
She's got that personality where I think she would have, if she would have gotten the media on her side, which in New York is almost impossible to do.
And she hasn't gotten it on her side in South Carolina. So.
Exactly. I think she would have been a very, very good coach for the Knicks. I think she would have whipped them into shape. I think she would have been just fine with them. She may not have gone and won championship after championship after championship. But with the work that she has done with South Carolina, I think it would have translated very, very well to the NBA in some sort of militant structure that the Knicks overall as a franchise would have needed. I think that would have been a great hire for them.
I think it might have been. We'll
never know.
Never know.
See, there you go. Job interview tips 101. Don't ask too many questions.
Don't ask too many. Well, she's got to interview them too. I mean, it's got to be a right fit for her.
Oh yeah, ask questions.
Much.
Ask questions, just not too many.
Number 4.
Harvard and Yale will play the game at Fenway Park next season. It'll be the second time that the rivalry moves to the historic home of the Boston Red Sox. The November 21st, 2026 game, so it won't be this season, it'll be next season, will be the 142nd meeting between the Ivy League schools, the third most games played in a rivalry in college football. Yale leads the series 71, 61, and 8, including the last 3 years. Harvard won back in 2018 when the game was last at Fenway, 45-27. Should these ballparks, major league ballparks, get in on some of these games more often to make it feel even more special than it already is?
I mean, I think it's cool. I think it's pretty cool. I mean, didn't Northwestern play Illinois? Was that last year
at Wrigley? Yep.
I mean, they do that every once in a while.
The Pinstripe Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's cool. It's just can you retrofit the stadium to make it work? And our baseball team's willing to do that because obviously you saw the Holiday Bowl at Petco Park. Mm-hmm. Now it's no longer at Petco Park; it's at Snapdragon, which is probably a better fit for them. And we're going to talk with Mark Neville here late in the next segment to talk about the Holiday Bowl, announcing that they have a date for their game. I think it's cool. I think certain venues it makes it cooler than others. But yeah, if you can make it work where it's a good experience for the fans, why not?
Yeah, I would love to see because I enjoyed a lot going to the Holiday Bowl at Petco Park. I enjoyed it at Snapdragon last year as well, but it's just that different atmosphere, that big stadium feel instead of just playing at one of the two schools for huge rivalry games. I think that's a lot of fun. Like, wouldn't you love to see Ohio State and Detroit and Michigan at Tiger Stadium or something like that?
I mean, that'd be kind of cool. Fun. I don't think Michigan fans or Ohio State fans would like it.
I'm just saying, but just that type of rivalry in a big stadium like that, or Wisconsin playing at American Insurance Field or whatever they're calling Miller Park.
Number 5,
American Insurance.
Right. Speaking of arenas, the city of San Jose have unanimously approved a deal on Tuesday to renovate the arena in San Jose for the San Jose Sharks. The SAP Center will upgrade. It'll be a $325 million upgrade to the 32-year-old SAP Center owned by the city. This deal will keep the San Jose Sharks in San Jose until 2051. So we have our own arena disputes here. Could we use this as a model? Is, hey, look, a Northern California city was able to do it with unanimous approval. Why not? Why not get our Midway district going as soon as possible and keep a team there as long as possible?
Yeah, that'd be nice. That'd be super nice. Well, they got to finish up these negotiations so they can start building something down there.
I agree.
And just hopefully they can get a tenant for it and everything like that. But no, it's good. I don't like seeing teams move.
No,
it's not fun. It's not great.
No.
Not fun, not great. That's it for the sports thread.
Rather light sports thread today, but did all right, I think.
I just saw this graphic. They put it on Fox Sports MLB. Can you name the 3 MLB teams that have never won their division?
I just saw it. So it's Colorado,
Yes.
Pittsburgh, and Miami.
Yeah, all teams in the National League.
Yep.
Have never won their division.
One in each division.
Pirates won the NL East in 1992. 1982 or 92? 92. So they have never won the Central. Rockies have never won the West. Marlins have never won the East. The Marlins have never won a division, but have won 2 World Series.
There's a stat for you.
That's all you need to know about that's all you need to know about the division. Last time, they basically said last time every team has won the division. The Padres haven't won since 2006.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a long time. Everybody else in the division has won since 2010. With the exception, obviously, of the Rockies. Other big drought besides the Nevers, the Padres have the biggest drought. So take that for what it's worth.
Could come to a close.
It could.
Soon.
Actually, second longest drought. The Mariners haven't won the AL West since 2001.
And that was that 116 win season.
116 win season. When we come back, Mark Neville, CEO of Sports San Diego, will join us about the new dates for the Holiday Bowl coming up this football season. We'll talk to him about that, some college football, and the other big events coming to town as we continue the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's number 1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. This noon lunch hour is brought to you by the Craft Taco. Bold flavors at 2 locations, Sorrento Valley and inside Balboa Park's Natural History Museum. I could use a Craft Taco today.
English are hard.
It is. It's Thursday. Duh. English are hard. Anyway, we're in our noon lunchtime hour now. We're talking a lot of different things today, a lot of college football today. With college football kicking off today on a Thursday, San Diego State in action today as well, tonight at 7 o'clock against Stony Brook. Talk more about that in a little bit. We will also get back to the Padres talk in just a second as well, but we had some local news with the Holiday Bowl, and no better man to come on the air when we have local big-time event news than the CEO of Sports San Diego, Mark Neville. Mark joins us on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, Mark?
Hey, it's a great day. It's like a lot of people know the Holiday Bowl volunteers wear those beautiful red coats, and I'm wearing the red coat for the first time this year. Fired up, man. Let's go. Exciting
times. I know we got a lot of events coming up here in town that we will also get to, but today you guys announced that they have a date. So you guys have picked out a date for the Holiday Bowl for this year's bowl season. It's going to be in January, different than it usually is in December. Tell us about the dates of this year's Holiday Bowl and how you guys came to the conclusion that this date was going to be the date.
So for the first time ever, the Holiday Bowl will be in January. It's going to be Friday, January 2nd, kicking off here at 5 p.m. local time, 8 o'clock Eastern. Great date for us. And the way we do it is we let Fox know what our preferences are, and then work with them, and they look at the windows, and then ultimately we arrive at our date. This was our first choice, and the reason for it is we exist to drive tourism, right? The Holiday Bowl's been around since 1978. It started to drive tourism to San Diego using the bowl game as the platform. It's done an amazing job. It fills the slowest tourism week of the year. And the last 5 or 6 years or so, we've been playing on December 27th or 28th. Like the dates, always like playing on Fridays if we can. But the problem with those days is that people don't like to travel. So it hurts travel when you get closer to Christmas. The best game date we had ever had in terms of travel and length of stay was on New Year's Eve of 2018. And it was because people didn't worry about traveling on Christmas. Now going on January 2nd, we have that same luxury. People don't have to worry about missing the Christmas holiday at home. They can come over on the 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th, whatever. They have plenty of time to come over here. Being on a Friday night, they have time to get home afterwards. And for local fans too, Friday night's always a good one. It's a great way to wrap up the holiday season and come into Snapdragon Stadium and enjoying the Holiday Bowl.
Yeah, somebody that used to travel with college football teams for bowl games. It was when we had a bowl game post New Year's Day, it was a lot easier because we actually got to enjoy Christmas with our families, which will be cool for the teams that get to participate in this year's Holiday Bowl. Sounds like you guys have
for those of us on staff and all of our volunteers too.
Absolutely, especially with trying to get volunteer time when everybody has their families and wants to spend time with their families during the holidays as well. In terms of the the matchup, again, you guys have the same contracts, and then for people that might have forgotten, what's the process like? When do you guys start diving into going out and watching respective conferences that you guys have contracts with? How does the process work out again for everybody as a reminder?
So this is year 6 of a 6-year contract with our conference partners. It's like that with every bowl game around the country. In fact, even the college football playoff is on the same cycle. So this is the 6th and final year of our current matchup with the ACC. So we get either our first, second, or third selection out of the ACC. We're a partner bowl game with the Gator Bowl in Jacksonville, Florida, and the Pop-Tarts Bowl in Orlando. So we'll get either our first, second, or third choice out of that conference. And then on the Pac-12 side, because there's only 2 teams currently in the Pac-12 for the season. And so the way we have worked it when the teams left for other conferences, we still work with the same teams that were in the Pac-12 a couple of years ago. So, for example, in the Big Ten, Washington, Oregon, UCLA, and USC are still in our picture for the Holiday Bowl. In the Big 12, Arizona, Arizona State, Utah, and Colorado are in our picture for the Holiday Bowl. And then out of the ACC, which is kind of confusing, but out of the ACC, Cal and Stanford are still representatives of the Pac-12 as it relates to our selections. And then, of course, Oregon State and Washington State that are still members of the Pac-12 are in our picture as well.
So you could theoretically, have Cal play another team in the ACC that they didn't potentially play in the regular season, and that could count as your Pac-12 ACC matchup in the Holiday Bowl, theoretically.
That is the ACC's dream scenario, because then they get the entire payout. So that's a good thing for them.
We're talking with Mark Neville, CEO of Sports San Diego, announcing the news today that we have a date for the Holiday Bowl coming up. In terms of, with college football starting today, relatively, I know week 0 happened last week. I know you fly around to a lot of different games. When does that process start? Do you start early in the season, or is it midway through conference year? When does Mark Neville and the powers to be with Sports San Diego start going out and watching some of these games?
And I got to tell you, and that is a really good question. It's changed a lot over the years. It used to be where we traveled to these games a lot more often than we do now. I candidly will probably only go to a couple games outside the market this year. I know for a fact I'll be in Charlotte for the ACC championship game. I've done that. That's where I've worked on my end the selections for the Holiday Bowl each year for the last 5 years. But we don't travel to as many games as you might think. We don't really have to do that. We can do it. The phone is amazing and television is amazing. It's like we have a pretty good sense of it. When we start to travel is when we narrow it down to the teams that are in our picture. And then at that point, when we go to a game, it's more to pin down on what their marketing programs are for the bowl game and things like that. So we're really not going just to go watch a football game. When we travel to games now, it's more of a trip to make sure that they're maximizing the travel for San Diego.
And it's not just football. We know that as now with the involvement and the creation of Sports
before
San
you
Diego.
leave that though, Braden, just to let people know. So if they go to holidaybowl.com now, the tickets are going to go on sale in September, which isn't too far away. And but if they go to our website, holidaybowl.com, a pop-up will go there. They can put their name and email address in there. So when tickets are going on sale, they'll actually get to be included in the pre-sale, so they can get the best seats for it. It's an important event for our community, with Sports San Diego, and it sounds like you're going to get into that a little bit. The Holiday Bowl has been our anchor event for 47 years now. And it's an important event for San Diego. It's put on largely, for the most part, there's only a few of us that get paid to do this by volunteers like yourself. And we hope that the whole community will enjoy it. We have hundreds of people, if not more than thousands of people, that have come to every single game since 1978, regardless of who's playing in the game, because it's an event. It's something that's regardless of if you have a team in it or not. The whole experience at a Holiday Bowl game is second to none, and encourage the community to enjoy it.
So you said tickets will be on sale in September, but you can do the pre-sale now?
You can sign up to get access to the pre-sale, which will be, I think it's going to be in the middle of September.
Perfect. That's good to know. Good information to pass along. We're talking with Mark Neville, CEO of Sports San Diego. A lot of events coming up in the fall, Mark. Obviously, the Rady Children's Basketball Tournament is another big headliner, but If I'm not mistaken, the next event or one of the next events coming up is on September 20th, where you guys are hosting a bocce ball tournament.
We are, in fact, we got a few events. We have our golf tournament September 8th. We're doing our Sports San Diego Paddle Out for Life, which honors folks who are no longer with us, but they donated their organs and tissue to people who passed away or who need it. That's at La Jolla Shores on September 14th, Sunday, September 14th in the morning. And then, as you mentioned, September 20th, we're bringing back our bocce ball tournament. That was really popular back in the day. We shut it down right before COVID or during COVID. We're bringing it back. Great event, and I'll be down at Liberty Station. You don't need any skill at all, none, zero. All you need to do is be able to throw a ball a few feet and have a drink in your hand.
Are there still signups available for that?
Yes, and encourage everybody to go to sportssandiego.org. Sports plural, sandiego.org, and you see all of those events and more. You got the Rady Children's Invitational coming up over Thanksgiving, and that's selling really well. I anticipate that will sell out pretty soon with Florida, Providence, TCU, and Wisconsin. The national champions going to be up at USD's Jenny Craig Pavilion. The Rady Children's Invitational, awesome event. You can access that one at sportssandiego.org as well. And then a lot of events that we help to secure, of course, big news lately was the NASCAR race that's coming to town next June. But we also have the USA Pickleball National Championships coming here. We got 3,000 pickleballers coming to San Diego, going to the Barnes Tennis Center in November, which will be an awesome event.
Obviously, I mean, this kind of started as the Holiday Bowl, and that's been the big anchor. And Sports San Diego was kind of recently developed, and you've been a part of it now since its beginning. As you've now gone through a couple of years of this, and the events continue to grow, and you guys continue to bring in more things. Has Sports San Diego turned into what you hoped it would have turned into when you guys kind of started this process of doing more than just one big football game?
If you would have told me 3 years ago that we would have brought Manchester United to San Diego twice, New Zealand All Blacks, secured a NASCAR race, scores of youth events that have been in town, I would have been, I would have thought you were smoking something. It has exceeded my expectations. The hardest part, it's not, it's not the easiest. San Diego's not the easiest place to do it. We don't have the venues that a lot of our competing markets have, like in Las Vegas and Phoenix and Los Angeles. And revenue streams aren't like they are in Texas and other places where, they're throwing money at these big events. That doesn't happen here. So we got to do our best. We sell San Diego as the year-round premier destination, and with the exception of today, the blue skies and everything like that. I think we're punching above our weight class. I'm really proud of what our team has been able to do in a very short period of time. We went from driving 20,000 or so room nights a year with just the Holiday Bowl to last year we did 150,000 room nights. We want to get it up to 250,000 room nights because that's important. Because what that does, it drives tax revenues for the city. It supports jobs. And does a lot of work and a lot of great things for our community. So it's important. Of course, the Holiday Bowl is our anchor event. It has been since 1978. It's the one where we need the most support from the community. So hopefully, with these, even coming to the game, buying a ticket to the game, it goes a long way towards helping us sustain what we're doing for the community. It's because of the Holiday Bowl that we are able to bring NASCAR to San Diego. It's the way we were able to bring the New Zealand All Blacks to San Diego. So it is a very important event for us. And so hopefully all your listeners will be going to holidaybowl.com and signing up for those tickets.
Mark, we appreciate the time. Thanks again for all the hard work and driving tourism through sports and giving a lot of local fans an opportunity to watch a lot of great events and sporting events for even leagues and teams that we don't have. It's pretty cool to see.
So, Braden, you have your red jacket yet?
I don't. I am working on getting the red jacket. I got to figure out the exact place that the red jackets are bought at, but I am ready to go, and I'd like to be at the Bocce tournaments coming up on September 20th. So hopefully I'll see you there.
Do it. Go to sportssandiego.org, man, and sign up. That is a no-brainer. It is just a blast, and people just have a great time. So hopefully we'll see you there.
Yeah, and hopefully I'll be donning my red jacket. Mark, thanks again.
All right, Braden, thanks.
Mark Neville, CEO of Sports San Diego, joining us on the Braden Surprenant Show. I am now a red jacket, so that's fun. I just got to go out and purchase said red jacket, add it to my repertoire of jackets that I have. But it should be fun. Lots of other events that are coming to town that we can discuss. But when we come back to the Padres, couple of things that Frank and I noticed from the week in Seattle. We'll talk about it when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show. Noon lunchtime hour brought to you by the Craft Taco. Bold flavors in 2 locations, Sorrento Valley and inside Balboa Park's Natural History Museum. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, taking up to 2 o'clock today. And Gwynn and Chris leading into no Padres baseball.
Bless you.
Off day today. They're flying to Minnesota. Well, they flew to Minnesota last night. They're in the land of 10,000 lakes against the Twins this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We'll talk more about that probably on tomorrow's show, but we do want to kind of recap what we saw this week from the Padres against Seattle. Some takeaways that Kevin Acee had in his daily newsletter as well. Padres dropped their season series to Seattle, who have now won 5 of the last 6 against the Padres and have now won 14 of the last 18 over the Padres in their past 4 seasons. Highlighting San Diego's struggles against contenders this year, while their playoff odds remain sky high at 99.5%, there might be a couple of cracks showing. I'm not overly concerned about some of these cracks in the armor, if you will. But the biggest concerns this week, at least laid out, I think there's like 5 of them. Concerns or observations from the week that was against Seattle. Number 1, contenders problem. I don't think the Padres really have a contenders problem. But the Padres this season are 1-9 in road series against current playoff teams. They're 26-35 overall versus teams that are 500 or better. The only playoff team with a losing record in that split. But they've also won 4 of their last 6 such series, and much of the damage came early in the year. Back in April and May and June, in which the Padres had a decent amount of pitchers who won't be starting for the Padres in the playoffs. In fact, you look at that particular number, and I don't think it's that troubling. But here's a couple other stats that Kevin Acee put out in his daily newsletter to go off of that. 8 of those series that are mentioned, 8 of those 10 series that are mentioned were in April or May. And the Padres have actually won 4 of their past 6 series against playoff teams or teams in playoff position, as we just mentioned. Of those 61 games against teams that are 500 or better, as we mentioned before, they're 26-35. So of those 61 games, 26 of those 61 games were started by pitchers who won't be starting for the Padres in the playoffs. So I don't necessarily know if you need to be too concerned about that. It's hard to win games against good teams. It's hard to win games against good teams on the road. It's hard to win series against good teams on the road. A lot of good teams come to Petco Park and lose 2 out of 3 against the Padres. It's very common. So I'm not overly concerned about it. Now you get to playoff mode, and I think things change a little bit. I think the game is managed differently. I think the game is played differently. I think players give it a little bit more than they do in the regular season, because in the regular season, you got 162 of these things to play. You got to play every single night. In the postseason, you got days off. The games mean a little bit more. And so I think that stat really jumps out of the window. Plus, with the season being so long, that group of 500 teams changes all the time. A lot of the times they were playing these teams when they didn't have a record above 500. And they'd beat up on some teams that had a record of 500 at the time that they played them that now no longer have a record above 500. So I don't necessarily know if that was a contender problem. I do want to get Frank's take on that. I know he's working on stuff, but contender problem. Do you think it's a contender problem? Do you think the Padres should you be concerned if the Padres play anybody that has a winning record in the postseason? I mean, everybody in the postseason is going to have a winning record.
Yes and no. There are problems that tend to show up more prominently, such as leaving runners on, not hitting with runners in scoring position. There are problems that show up more prominently when you're playing a contender as compared to when you're playing the Rockies or playing the Pirates. But I don't think that the Padres have an overall issue where they can't play well against a contending club.
I don't think so either. Let's talk about the rotation. Padres' playoff rotation remains unsettled. Inconsistency looms larger than who they'll face in October, which I agree with in the state of things for the San Diego Padres. Now you look at, and we talked about this with Dylan Cease, like what you would do with Dylan Cease. I'd have him start a game and then have Nestor Cortez pitch right after him. Or another starting pitcher. Maybe it's Randy Vasquez. I don't necessarily know if I'd use an opener for Dylan Cease. I'm open to it. But I think when you get to that particular point in your rotation in the postseason, I think you have to be creative. Top 3 arms right now that would start games in the playoffs to me would be Pivetta and King and Yu Darvish. And I would have, I'm not really against Michael King starting the first game, even with his injuries that he might have had. But I think those are your 3 pitchers for the starting rotation for the postseason, Frank. Pivetta, King, and Darvish. Darvish is pitching, is even though he gave up 4 runs yesterday, he's pitching better than Dylan Cease is.
I agree with that last point. There is a starting pitching issue, though. Darvish is not what you expect him to be coming off of this injury. Almost looks as though Father Time is catching up. Dylan Cease has been awful this year. There's no other way to put it. I don't know if you can trust Randy Vasquez in that high leverage of a spot. You could also throw Nestor Cortez. However, it's only 1 start. I want to see more out of Nestor before I throw him in a playoff spot. But for right now, you really don't have that much of a choice. It has to be King, Pivetta, and Darvish.
I trust Darvish in a playoff game more than I trust Cease.
100%.
I trust Darvish in a playoff game more than I trust Vasquez. I trust Darvish in a playoff game more than I trust Nestor Cortez. I trust Darvish in a postseason more than I trust all 3 of those guys going in the same game. I don't know if I trust Darvish more than a bullpen day, though. Like, I don't mind a bullpen day in the postseason. The Dodgers did that multiple times last year and had success. I would rather not fry my bullpen in a series. But at the same time, I think that's your biggest question on that is, do you do a bullpen day or do you do a Darvish day? I'd rather have Darvish go through the order once, maybe twice.
It might be
max.
Darvish paired with somebody, like you get Darvish and Cease with the bullpen going in. One time bullpen. That would be, I think, an ideal scenario. I would be more comfortable, honestly, with Darvish, Cortez, and then the bullpen. But I don't trust Dylan Cease right now with everything I've seen this year after last year's implosion against the Dodgers. I just do not trust Dylan Cease in a playoff spot. I don't.
That's the other thing too, is you could have Darvish going after Cease.
But then you don't know if the damage has already been done or not. And then you're just wasting Darvish at that point.
Well, if he gets like lit up in this last inning, then you go to somebody else and you punt on the game and you try to win a series. I mean, that's where you go. You don't just burn a guy just because that happened to be the plan. All these teams have plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D when they pull out their bullpen. If you go with Cease to start a game and you get him to the 4th inning, I'd let him start the 4th inning. And as soon as the base runner is on, somebody's ready to go.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And as they talked about in the roundtable, you can't have a guy warming up every inning that he pitches. I understand that. But if he allows, after the first time through the order, he gets a guy on base, start warming somebody up. He gets 2 guys on base. All right, it's time to warm up a little bit quicker. And then you're probably playing a couple of mound visit games, and then you get that guy in.
Yeah,
that's where you're going to have to be, because you're kind of playing fire, but you have to play with fire in the playoffs. You have to. It's not going to be perfect. Nothing ever goes according to plan in the playoffs.
No,
that I think is your best strategy, using Dylan Cease in a playoff rotation.
There are only 2 guys that you can trust to get into and get out of a jam in this rotation right now, and that is Michael King and Nick Pivetta. Those are the only 2 that I would trust to get into and out of a jam. We've seen it a couple times already this year where Darvish has that one implosion inning, whether it's the first, whether it be the 4th, or what have you. Those are you only have 2 pitchers that you can trust to go deep into a playoff game. Other than that, you are going to have option B, C, D, E, all the way down. You might go to option A, C at this point with what you have in this rotation. And for all the rotation depth that we thought we had at the beginning of the season, it's getting down to now we're in the playoffs. Now we're trying to figure out who's going to be starting games. And it's turning out that we really don't have as much as we thought we did.
I don't think you need starting pitching as much anymore. I think it's mostly bullpens. I mean, the way that they run bullpens out there and have these guys pitch all the time.
I'm not expecting a Pavetta or a King to go into the 7th or 8th inning. It would be nice, it'd be cool, but that's not the expectation. If they get through 5, that's a great playoff start.
Here's my last thing on Darvish. He had the one bad pitch yesterday. He got a little wild. He's only thrown 47 2/3 innings. And he's getting better as the starts have been racking up. And he's only made 10 starts. I think by the time the playoffs roll around, I mean, we'll see. I think he's probably got 3 or 4 starts left in the end of the season.
Probably
3 or 4,
maybe 5,
maybe a 5th one. I think you got some patience with Darvish a little bit.
Oh, he's earned the patience. He's
unlike
earned
Dylan
that.
Cease, who has not looked good all year, and it's not changing.
No,
it's not getting any better.
No, and we were patient with him all season long. And then when the Yankee game happened, it was like, okay, maybe we got something. Maybe now he turned around. Then he had the Dodger game. It was like, okay, now this is where it starts. But then it's been back to it. It's been the flashes, and that has been it out of Dylan Cease. We know what Dylan Cease is this year, and it's not good.
No.
We're still trying to figure out whether or not Darvish is going to be the Darvish of last year's postseason, or if Father Time is catching up.
I think he's going to be okay. I think he's going to be fine.
I have more faith.
I have more faith in you, Darvish, than I do in Dylan Cease. I mean, there's too much Jekyll and Hyde with Dylan Cease. At least with you, Darvish, he's crafty and he can find. I mean, he's still throwing pitches that are gross.
Yes.
Gross. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'd still rather have you, Darvish, and Randy Vasquez in a playoff game.
Vasquez is still in El Paso, I believe.
As of right now. Yeah.
I would imagine Sears is back in El Paso already.
Vasquez will get pulled up, I think, next week when they need the next rotation spot, unless Michael King's ready to go.
Yeah, which that spot would actually be coming up this weekend.
So hopefully Michael King is ready to go, and you can see him next week. And if that's the case, that means Vasquez will pitch this weekend at some point.
Back-to-back American League teams as well. So, 3 straight American League teams. You got Minnesota this weekend, and then you come home to take on Baltimore.
Yeah, after you took on Seattle. Mm-hmm. That was some of the concerns. There's another one that involves the lineup and a little bit from the position players. In fact, there's 3. We'll talk about those 3 when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, standing as number 1 sports station 97 through the Fan. Need a contestant for a midday sports standoff. If you can take me down to some sports trivia, you will be qualified for a grand prize, a 2-night stay at Resorts World Las Vegas, plus VIP admission to AYU Day Club and a $175 food and beverage credit. Celebrate summer with a 2-night stay at Resorts World Las Vegas. Dine poolside at one of the 5 unique pool experiences in the 5.5 acres pool complex, largest elevated pool deck on the Las Vegas Strip, and experience AYU Day Club, a stunning oasis inspired by the islands of Southeast Asia, where the ultimate party concepts transform the weekend into a never-ending summer. Special summer rates available now at rwlasvegas.com, now offering no resort fees and complimentary parking. And it's so long. Such a long read. Such a long read. We got another one too, by the way. We got the Dylan Cease bobblehead. It's in here. Dylan Cease bobblehead, September 10th, as the Padres take on the Cincinnati Reds at 5:40. Celebrate history with the Dylan Cease no-hitter bobblehead presented by State Farm, Wednesday, September 10th. First 40,000 fans will receive a piece of Padres history commemorating Dylan's dealing in D.C. Bobbleheads will be distributed on a first-come, first-served basis. First pitch set for 5:40. Gates are open to the public 90 minutes prior, so arrive early to secure your giveaway item. For more information, visit padres.com/giveaways. There's your paper snap for you. Great read. All right. We're talking about the things we learned from the Mariners series for the San Diego Padres. We talked about it from a pitching standpoint for really the first hour and a half, mixed with college football stuff in, of course. And coming up in the next segment, Skyler will join us in studio to get the 10 picks. We're all tied, by the way, at 3-2. I sent the picture of the rundown, Frank, to Skyler, and she goes, "Oh my God, we're all tied." Yes, thanks for listening. Paid attention. We are all tied. Yeah, and she'll have a camera this time. Anyway, we'll be doing that next. We do need to get to the midday sports standoff in about 5 minutes or so, but there are 3 position player questions that I think need to be discussed. I'm really tired of having this conversation, but at the same time, like, I feel like it needs to be addressed. Like, who bats second for the Padres? This is from Kevin Acey's newsletter. We talked about this yesterday before it was in the newsletter, about just how bad Luis Arraez had been. And Kevin Acey lays out a stat that's even worse. But anyway, here's from the newsletter today. The Padres' regular number 2 hitter made the first out in yesterday's 9th inning. The fill-in number 2 hitter made the final out. Luis Arraez got most of yesterday off before pinch hitting for Jose Iglesias in the 9th inning. In his place in the second spot in the batting order was Ramon Laureano. Kevin Acey wrote in his postgame notebook about Mike Schilt, all but guaranteeing that this was a one-off and that he is not changing the lineup. The reason Schilt sticks with Arraez so high in the order can be boiled down to his faith in Arraez and his belief that the lineup, as it has been constructed lately, is the one that best sets up the Padres for success. The reason that is being questioned, mostly from the outside, like Frank and I over here, is that Arraez is batting a $190, 190, 12 for 63 over his past 16 games, and is 2 for 23. With 2 sack bunts and 2 sack flies in that span when Fernando Tatis Jr. reaches base in front of him. So in his last 16 games, Fernando has reached base 23 times. In those times, Arraez is 2 for 23. Not very good. Not very good. We mentioned it yesterday in terms of the overall look at Luis Arraez. Okay, again, he had an off day yesterday to an extent. He did pinch hit late in the game. But you look at Luis Arraez's numbers this year compared to every other year, he is down in almost every single metric. He is down in every advanced metric. His swing speed is down. His barrel percentage is down. All of the major factors that I talked about on why you shouldn't be worried about Xander Bogaerts are all the metrics that are not going well for Luis Arraez, and why you should be a little concerned about Luis Arraez, at least to the point of batting him second. I don't think he shouldn't be playing. I don't know how many times I've had to discuss this. I just don't think he should be batting second in the order. He's got his lowest average of his career this season. Lowest average of his career this season. Still hitting 283. Nobody's going to say that he can't hit, because the guy can hit. Lowest average of his career this season at 283. He has his lowest on-base percentage of his career this season, 316. Guy never walks. Never strikes out, also never walks. He has his second lowest slugging percentage this season at 388. The lowest he had was when he was in Minnesota in 2021 as a 24-year-old. His slugging percentage was 376. It's 388 this year. He has his lowest OPS of his career this season. It's 705. Lowest of his career. And his OPS plus, which 100 accounts for an average player, he is at 94, which again is the lowest out of any season in his career. Yes, I understand he is a batting champion. Yes, I understand he is a 3-time batting champion. Yes, I understand the guy in his past has been a very good hitter. But what I'm saying right now is he is currently not that player, and we have seen him for 128 games this year. And most of those games, he has been batting second in the order. I understand that he used to be a really good player. In 2025, he's just not that guy right now. He's okay, he's good, but he's not the 3-time batting champion. He's not hitting over 300. He's not slugging over 800, which he has done multiple times in his career. He's not even slugging. He doesn't even have an OPS of 700, 720. I meant slug. I meant OPS. OPS. He's had an OPS over 800 twice. And usually it's in the high 790s. It's at 705. I mean, it's about to drop below 700. You cannot continually put this guy in the second spot and be like, hey, it's just going to magically change. I don't get it. He's got the second lowest WAR of his career, dating back to 2020. I don't even think you could count that. You honestly can't even count that year. 2020 played 32 games. No wonder his WAR was so low. This is the lowest WAR he's ever had in his career, from a defensive perspective and from an offensive perspective. So I don't really know what you're going to continue to do with Luis Arraez batting too. And again, don't take him out of the lineup. Just move him down. I don't know why that's such a crazy idea. I don't know why it's such a crazy idea. There's a couple other things that I wanted to talk about when it comes to the Padres and what we learned this week. We'll talk about that in the next hour. We do need to get to today's Midday Sports Standoff.
Welcome to Midday Sports Standoff on the Braden Surprenant Show.
I can't believe what I'm seeing right now.
The ultimate head-to-head battle where sports knowledge and quick thinking collide.
That's no good. Are you kidding me?
Contestants will go toe-to-toe with Braden in a sports trivia deal where every correct answer brings them closer to victory.
Down the sideline! Wow! Unbelievable!
But 3 strikes and it's game over.
This is not Detroit, man. This is the Super Bowl.
Can you outsmart Braden? The Midday Sports Standoff starts now.
All right. What do we got?
We have Cameron in San Marcos today. Cameron, how you doing today, bud?
What's up, Cameron?
How you guys doing?
Good.
Doing well.
Doing good.
Doing
All
better
right.
than the weather, I can tell you that.
Yeah. So today's topic, we're going to stick with Major League Baseball here. There are 8 possible answers for today's topic. There are 8 teams in Major League Baseball that can trace their lineage back to before 1900. Who are the 8 teams? Cameron, you have the first guess.
The Yankees.
Surprisingly, no. I believe it was 1903 was the Yankees' first year. Braden?
I always think about the Cincinnati Reds. Aren't they like the first team?
Cincinnati Reds is correct.
How many you said there? There's
8. So now
Okay.
7 left. Cameron?
St. Louis Cardinals.
St. Louis Cardinals, correct. Braden? No, Rod, it's not the Montreal Expos.
Chicago Cubs.
The Cubbies. About to start off against the Giants right now. Cameron?
The San Francisco Giants.
Correct. Braden? We got halfway there.
Pirates.
Pittsburgh Pirates, correct. Cameron?
Okay, if I did Giants, I'm guessing Dodgers then.
Correct. 3 for 3. Braden?
And then, is it the Phillies yet?
Phillies.
Philadelphia's.
There is one team left, Cameron. If you get it right, you tie, which means you're qualified.
Red Sox.
Another good guess, but no. Braden?
You have one more team left?
Yep.
What has been said?
Cincinnati, Chicago, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia. Those were yours. St. Louis, San Francisco, and L.A.
Oh, and the Dodgers. Did you say Atlanta? Did you say the Braves?
Correct.
Wow.
That is it, Cameron. I'm sorry. But once again, our host is too smart.
That was a trivia question last night at Naughty Barrel. Was the Braves in Boston?
See, now you should have told me that. I would have changed it.
That was the only one. It was like this team.
The
Atlanta
gotcha.
Braves actually got their start here, Beantown, something like that. I was like Boston immediately.
Boston Braves.
A lot of people did not get that one right. I always get the sports ones right. They never really have sports questions at trivia night.
I wonder why, because they know you're there.
Oh yeah, that's why. They have a lot of dumb like novel. Oh, what about this book? Sorry, I haven't read Animal Farm since I was in 8th grade.
Sorry,
Lord
I'm
of
not
the
a
Flies.
nerd.
I had to do a novel. We had this class in St. Michael's for like 7th and 8th grade. It was like part of English class. It was like novel, and they had all these like old books that were like popular that we had to read. I think I only read like 2 of them. I think I read Lord of the Flies and I read Animal Farm. I think Red Pony was one of the books I was supposed to read. I don't remember reading that one though.
I don't remember which ones.
What other one? We had to read The Alchemist before I got to Cathedral. That was like the book you had. Do you remember like summer reading? You had to do like summer reading. God, that was hell on earth.
If there was summer reading, I don't remember it.
I don't remember every year
Olympian.
like the books we had to read, but I do remember going into high school. I had to read The Alchemist for English.
The
class.
only book I remember having to read for school was Bridge to Terabithia. That was the only one I remember having to read.
What else? What else did I have to read? I did read like my junior year of English class. Some of the books were a lot better. Like The Great Gatsby was that year. Catcher in the Rye. What else? Keep going back to The Alchemist. I read that book, but anyway, summer reading is like the worst thing to ever give a child.
Trav Gundy, what's reading? Agree.
What I'm doing right now, reading your messages. That's what it is. What else did we have to read? I was always in regular English class though, which is great. Didn't have to take the honors English where all the real nerds were. Had to worry about like the crazy books they had to read. I mean, we got to like Shakespeare stuff when I was a senior. I was like, I can't believe I'm reading Macbeth right now. And the thing is my English teacher at the time, Mr. McMurtry, he was an interesting character. He's now the principal at Cathedral, which is kind of crazy.
Oh, wow.
He was my English teacher, but he only taught honors English, and then he had one regular English class for seniors. So I had an honors English teacher as a regular English teacher. And Mr. McMurtry loved Macbeth. and Shakespeare. I couldn't say the class agreed with his deal. And so he's like a guy that's like super, into books and Shakespeare and all that stuff. He would not fit the description of the NFL team he rooted for, by the way. He was a Raiders fan, which was like the funniest thing of the entire... You wouldn't even know that Mr. McMurtry watched sports. Guy was a diehard Raiders fan. I don't know if he still is or not, but I remember that from class. That, and I think he had a pet ferret or something like that. I mean, that's the type of guy we're talking about here. Raiders fan.
With a pet ferret.
Yeah. Just reading Macbeth and all the other Shakespeare plays.
And now you're probably going to hear about this a little bit later on today.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't have to see the principal of the school.
Oh, well, sure.
Sam Levitt's driving me nuts in a group text for fantasy football. Talk about it later. Braden Surprenant Show. 1 o'clock on the Braden Surprenant Show on a Thursday. College football starts today, which means one thing. And that means the queen of college football joins us on Thursday. Skyler back in studio with us to help us pick week 1 of the college football season. There's Skyler on the video today. What's going on? You got it close.
A mic would help too. I started talking without this thing here, so no one could hear me.
All right. So we got college football today. We're excited to have college football back. I got a little nervous there because you weren't here in time, and it was 1 o'clock. It was almost 1 o'clock, and I thought I gave you the wrong name. And then all of a sudden, Skyler comes sprinting in to studio.
Yeah, I had to text Braden and assure him that I was in the elevator on my way up at 12:58 for our 1 o'clock call time.
All right. Let's get to today's picks, Frank. Let's get to we got the music in the background ready to go. There you go. That's a little loud. Fired up on a Thursday.
Calm down, relax. It starts high and then it goes low. Remember, this is a semi-professional production here. What are we doing?
Semi-professional. We have 10 games that we're going to pick. Just to recap from last week, we all went 3-2. Skyler and I won. We all won 2 games.
Yes.
Skyler and I won 1 game. Frank won 1 game, and we all lost 2. So we're all 3-2. Found a different way to get to 3-2. And now we have 10 games to pick for this weekend. 2 games tonight, 1 game tomorrow. We're going to pick 5 games on Saturday and 2 games on Sunday. And since we will have a Monday show before the Monday game, we can talk about that on Monday. I might have a little bit more opinions on that game than most people in general.
We're not going to be able to talk about that on Monday.
That's right. We won't. Even better. We won't be talking about it on Monday. I'll be watching that game on Monday.
We'll take up the next segment, getting the opinions on said Monday game.
Yeah, there you go. So we got 2 games tonight that we want to pick. We're not picking the Aztec game tonight, but I will pick the Aztecs to win tonight.
What's the line?
I don't know.
I think it's like 19.5 or something.
They might not cover, but they're going to win.
Yeah.
Take Stony Brook on that one. First game of the night. Number 25, Boise State, favored by 5.5 against the USF South Florida Bulls. Skyler, take it away.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited to see this game. I think Boise State, they had such a dominant year last year, but I think the question mark is going to be how are they going to perform without Ashton Genty this year? And I think USF has really been working to establish like a strong team. The game's in Florida, so I'm actually going to take Florida on this one. South Florida. Yeah.
South Florida plus
South Florida.
5.5. No Genty for Boise State. Long trip for the Broncos.
Right.
I think Skyler's just picking that because South Florida has given Alabama all the fits in the world.
You know,
the
I
last
actually
2 times.
almost went there. That was my second choice school behind Alabama. So
There's some bias.
they do have
there.
a special place in my heart.
I'm going with the Boise State Broncos minus 5.5. I think they get the job done. I think they win by 7.
I'm going to take Boise State as well, being ranked number 25. I'll take them comfortably here. Nebraska favored by 6.5 against the Cincinnati Bearcats. Again, this game is going to be at a neutral site. Both of these games are on ESPN. Braden, Cincinnati or Nebraska?
Nebraska's getting better. I like Matt Rule a lot. I think he's a really good football coach. They got Dylan Raiola as their quarterback. You know, it's going to be more Cornhusker fans, I would imagine, in Kansas City than Cincinnati. As much as I'd love to see the Bearcats win for the Big 12, I got Nebraska minus 6.5 tonight. I think it's going to be a great game tonight at 6 o'clock, but I'm going to take the Cornhuskers.
Skyler?
Yeah, I think it's also going to be a great game, but I think Nebraska's got the stronger defense. I think they're going to be able to hold the Bearcats, so I'm also going to take Nebraska.
I'm going to stick with the Big Ten team as well. I'm going with Nebraska. And
I will be rooting for Cincinnati tonight, though.
There you go.
Strength of schedule. We got to start it early.
Lawson in the chat. Love you too, bud. All right. So now going to Friday's game. This one is going to be anti both of you.
Yeah.
On this one.
This is the Braden Skyler rival game is what this game is.
Auburn favored by 2.5 at Baylor to take on the Bears. This will be on tomorrow, 5 p.m. on Fox. Skyler, first shot.
Yeah, well, I saw Hugh Freeze is speaking very highly of his O-line this year. He said he's got I think maybe 6 NFL caliber players there. I don't know how true that is. If that's true, then he's got a huge edge up this year. So we'll see. I'm going to take Auburn in this matchup.
Auburn's got 3 quarterbacks, right, Frank?
Yeah.
They're playing 3 quarterbacks. If you have 2 quarterbacks, you means you have 0. I don't know what 3 means. Probably doesn't sound very good. I like Baylor in this game because you want to know why. They have 1 quarterback, and his name is Sawyer Robertson, and he's pretty good. And the Big 12 has the best quarterback class out of any conference in college football. The fact that it's a home game for Baylor is great. They've been pricked to be near the top of the Big 12 by a lot of outlets. I like Baylor in this game, plus 2.5. I think they end up winning outright on the Brazos River at 5 o'clock tomorrow.
I am going with Baylor as well, because if you have Jackson Arnold, who just transferred, a former 5-star quarterback, and you still don't know who your starting quarterback is, you do not have a starting quarterback.
But I think that's the games they play in the SEC too, like to try to hold their cards close to their chest. You know, they pretend like they have no idea who they're going to play, and you know they don't want to like put everything out there for everyone. And
the SEC
they've got a plan. They've got a plan.
Okay. As much as I hate rooting for Baylor, I can't say sick 'em Bears. I can't do it.
All right. Well, you just did.
I know, but not in the way that they would want me to say.
So Saturday. Off to Saturday now, the big day. Syracuse will take on number 24 Tennessee in Knoxville. It is a 13.5
I think that game's in Charlotte.
Okay, neutral site then.
I don't think it's going to matter, though.
Syracuse versus Tennessee, 13.5 point spread. Tennessee is favored. This will be 9 o'clock in the morning on ABC. Braden, you're up first.
I got the Volunteers in this one. I think they covered the 13.5. I think a lot of people think that, Nico leaving is going to be the end of the Tennessee Volunteers. Josh Heupel just signed a contract extension, the head coach of the Vols. Plus, I got a player on the Volunteers on the D-line, Jackson Moy. Shout out to him. I'll take Tennessee minus 13.5 in Knoxville. I'm not a huge believer in Syracuse.
Skyler?
I feel like Braden's going to give me such a hard time right now, so I'm a little reluctant here.
Oh, here we go.
But
the Alabama is showing.
Tennessee did lose a huge number of players on their secondary and lost some really key players on the offense. I do think that they're the stronger team. I do think that they're going to win, but I don't think they're going to cover.
All right, she's taking the orange in this battle of orange.
Here's a stat brought to you by my friend who is a Tennessee fan. Who has the most all-purpose yards as far as quarterbacks go in the SEC coming into this season?
Was it Nico?
It'd be Joey Aguilar, who is the quarterback for
the Tennessee Volunteers.
I agree with Skyler. I think it's going to be a close game. I think Tennessee is going to win. I have a feeling it'll be by 10. So I'm going to take Syracuse on the spread, but Tennessee will take the game. The big one coming up 9 o'clock in the morning on Friday. Number 1 Texas at number 3 Ohio State. Virtually a toss-up. It is a 1.5 point spread. Skyler,
yeah, everyone is so mad that this game is in the morning, but I cannot wait to wake up and this be the start of my day. It's just gonna set the entire weekend. I'm so looking forward to it. It really truly is a toss-up. These are both such talented teams, and I go back and forth. You could truly flip a coin with who's gonna win this one, but I think because it's gonna be so close, I'm just gonna go with the home team on this one and take Ohio State.
Braden?
I got Ohio State at home. I think that's the biggest factor. If this was a neutral site game, I would have taken Texas. If the game was in Austin, I would have taken Texas. I'm going to go with the Buckeyes minus 1.5 at the Horseshoe. It's hard to go up there and win. Kind of the real big first start for Arch Manning. He did get a couple of starts last year. He did not start an SEC game, though. This is the closest thing that he will get to starting an SEC game is playing the Buckeyes. And we'll see what Julian Sands all about. Carlsbad Lancer, starting quarterback for Ohio State. Root for the local product, and I got the Buckeyes, even though I think Texas is the lesser of two evils in this particular case.
As a Penn State fan, I hate Ohio State.
Join the club, dude.
But my hatred for Texas runs deeper, so I'm going to take Ohio State for that reason. I don't want to see Texas succeed in any way, shape, or form. Braden, you're going to be the only one to pick this one since I know what Skyler's pick is going to be. Alabama, 13.5-point favorites at Florida State. This is going to be at 12:30 on ABC, so this will be right after the Syracuse-Tennessee game. Braden, who do you got here? Alabama, Florida State.
Well, it's very interesting. Same spread as the Tennessee game.
Yes.
I think Alabama's going to win. I don't think they cover on the road. I think Florida State covers against Alabama. I think Bama wins by 7 at Florida State.
Okay.
I'll take the Seminoles.
Skyler?
I'm not betting against my team in week
one.
one.
Can't do it.
Frank knew.
Can't do it.
I'm really excited to see how DeBoer performs in his second season. I think it's going to be a little different. Coming in, he was still getting familiar with Alabama, getting familiar with the SEC. So now he's got a year under his belt. I'm really interested to see how Ty Simpson's going to be. I think you're going to see Alabama go back more towards that traditional quarterback and really using Ryan Williams all season long. I think that you're going to see some huge plays, and I really think Alabama's going to come out on top and cover the spread.
After
Rod is so mad right now.
Yeah, I know.
Rod is an Alabama fan in the chat, Skyler.
So after the way Florida State played last year, especially how they came out of the gate, I have a very, very hard time trusting them. I'm going to say go Heffalumps. It's going to be Alabama. Next game. ABC is going to be your place on Saturday. After the Alabama Crimson Tide versus Florida State, you're going to get the LSU Tigers taking on the Clemson Tigers. Skyler, how are you going to be spelling Tigers at the end of the day? Is it going to be G-O or G-E-A-U?
Tigers versus Tigers. You've got two really great quarterbacks going head-to-head here. I don't love Brian Kelly, so I think I'm going to have to go with the other Tigers on this one. I think Nussmeier, his O-line is a little bit newer, a little bit weaker, and I think that's where you're going to see the main difference here. Otherwise, I think that it's a pretty even matchup, but I'm going to go with Clemson here.
4.5, and she's spelling it G-O.
G-O.
Right. I'm spelling it G-O, and I got a P in Clemson. Minus 4.5. The fact that the game's at Clemson, I think, is a big factor as well. I'll take the Clemson Tigers at home, 4:30 on ABC.
We're all going to spell it G-O. I don't see Clemson losing at home against LSU. I know Nussmeier is supposed to be very, very good this year, but I can't see Cade Klubnik, who is already the runaway favorite for the Heisman this year, losing at home to LSU.
Got a Pac-12 game. Oh, man. No, it's not.
Well, it kind of is. It's an old Pac-12.
Both of these teams could be picked to play in the Holiday Bowl.
Before the P stood for power, we have the Utah Utes, not Youths, Utes, 5.5-point favorites against the UCLA Bruins at the Rose Bowl. This will be an 8:00 game on Fox. Braden, who do you got, Utah or UCLA?
I'll take the Big 12 Utes. I got Utah on this one. I think UCLA is going to have a miserable year. I don't think Nico's the answer for them at quarterback. I don't think they're going to be very good. I'll take Utah minus 5.5.
I think I'm going to go opposite on this one. I think if the game was a little bit later on in the season, if they were playing in Utah, I would consider maybe going Utah. I think Nico might do some interesting things with UCLA, and I think that it's going to be really fun to watch and see what they do. So I'm going to take UCLA with this one.
I'm going to take UCLA as well. I think Nico's going to give a different look to that UCLA offense.
All right, couple of games we got to go a little quick here.
Sunday, Skyler, your first pick. Virginia Tech versus South Carolina. Gamecocks favored by 7.5. This will be a 12:00 game on ESPN. Take a pick.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a huge game for Shane Beamer, and I really like him a lot. I watched him on the Netflix SEC documentary, and he really grew a place in my heart, so I'm going to be rooting for him. He really stands behind his team, and I think they'll be able to cover the spread.
I got South Carolina at home against Vatek.
South Carolina, same here. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish are 2.5-point favorites against the number 10 Miami Hurricanes, 4:30 p.m. on ABC. Braden, you got the last pick.
In correction there, Virginia Tech, South Carolina is being played in Atlanta. This game is actually at Miami. I like Notre Dame in this one. I'm not a big Carson Beck fan. I don't think he's very good. I know Miami loaded up in the transfer portal. Notre Dame coming off of a great season last year. I like them on the road to knock off Miami on Sunday.
Skyler.
It's funny that you say you don't really like Carson Beck. He's not my favorite person ever, but I do feel like he is a pretty talented quarterback. He did some really big things at Georgia. I think he'll be able to carry that into Miami. I think you'll see some really big offensive plays here, and I've got Miami here.
I am going to take Notre Dame. I think they're going to be a little bit more battle-tested coming into this year. And with as good as Carson Beck is, going from a different program, another top program, I think I'm going to take Notre Dame.
Frogs in North Carolina on Monday.
Do we have to bother?
I knew he wouldn't put that one on our list. I
never put the TCU games on there.
Yeah.
I do make sure Alabama's on there almost every single week.
I'm happy to pick Alabama,
but I'm not putting the TCU games on there. I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't. So I'm not putting the Frogs on the sheet. But minus 3.5 point road favorites. Pretty money on Monday night. So we'll see how Josh Hoover does. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Skyler, thanks again for coming down and getting us your picks for the week. We'll see what how Frank's mom does behind the scenes. She's picking strictly on uniforms this year.
I love it.
Yes, that is the pick. Which
is it? Colors, styles? How are we picking here? Okay.
Yes, it is colors. She goes by. She doesn't call them uniforms. First of all, she calls them costumes.
Okay.
And her number one rule is you would never wear yellow pants to work.
That's true.
So you never pick teams wearing yellow pants.
I'd argue that about the orange too. Yellow and orange. So.
True. Yeah.
I might side with her. If she likes red, then we'll be good to go.
She likes crimson. Yeah, she'd be locked in. Anyway, that's Skyler, the queen of college football. We'll talk to her again next Thursday. See how everybody did on their picks. Big weekend of college football. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about that. Dive back into Padres baseball, and to finish up the show, Eddie Brown will join us to get you ready for your fantasy drafts. I have one tonight. Sam Levitt is blowing up our phones for this draft. I'll tell you what that means when we come back. All right, we got our work league, fantasy football league. It's kind of like half work and half not. Like Frank's not in it. We got to get Frank. We got to get you involved in this league.
I'm not a big fantasy football guy.
All right,
I'll
perfect.
play it, but I'll
now.
play in it if I'm invited. But I'm not a big fantasy guy.
So like, Gwen and Chris are in the league, and Scraby, and then Chris's wife Lori's in it, and some John Flint from Quezon. Guy made the ribs. We have the draft tonight at 8:30, and I'm flying to San Jose to meet up with Cathedral Catholic Football, who, by the way, just took over an In-N-Out in the Bay Area. It's just littered with Dons everywhere. But anyway, I have to fly up there for the game. We play tomorrow, so I'll be doing the show from San Jose tomorrow. And I got the draft tonight. And so, like, we have a keeper in this league. So anybody that you drafted the previous year, the 5th round and on, is eligible to be your keeper for this season. And you can have the same keeper 2 years in a row, and then that's it. And where that player was drafted last year is where you get him this year. You follow me so far?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
So, like, if I drafted just
Travis Kelce,
if I drafted Travis
round,
Kelce in the 6th, I get Kelce in the 6th.
you get Kelce in the 6th if he is your keeper. Yes. You can only use the same guy twice, a max. So, like, I had Joe Mixon 2 years in a row as like a keeper because it was like the 9th round or something like that. And then what was the other? I think that's it with the keeper rules. So like I'm keeping Brian Thomas Jr. because he's an 8th round pick from a year ago. And the other thing is if you draft this guy, he has to be on your team for the entire season for it to count as the keeper. So I got Brian Thomas Jr. already locked in for the 8th round. So today, like, everybody's still trying to figure out their keepers and everything like that. And our boy Sam Lev, our boy Sammy, dude, I was just like, he goes, he texts today. And by the way, the group text has like when our draft time is and everything like that. He texts today, what time is the draft tonight? The group text.
Oh, boy.
And then
he draws the foul.
And somebody goes 5:30 Hawaii time, which is correct.
It's 8:30.
Which is correct. 5:30 Hawaii time. And then Sam goes on to say, how do I see when I drafted someone last year?
He draws the foul.
I don't know where everybody else finds it in the draft history. And then nobody responded to him. And then he goes, I figured it out. And then he goes, are we a PPR league? This is his 2nd year in the league.
He draws the foul.
I responded with, Sam, read the rules, man. Like, just, it says rules. Just read them. And then he puts in the group chat, I will be declining a keeper selection. Unbelievable.
Oh, I'm just stupid.
To be fair to Sam, he's got a lot of prep work with Arizona State to do.
Yeah, he's getting ready for He's getting ready for NAU.
Exactly.
He's getting ready for the Minnesota Twins.
We gotta give him a little bit of slack here.
Oh my God, dude. Read the rules? Maybe? I was like reading the, and by the way, this is all happening like during the round table. It's just
right
like
when everyone is the most available.
That's right, to answer the questions about the fantasy. What time is our fantasy draft? It says it on the website. How do I find out where I drafted last time? It's on the website. Are we a PPR? It's on the website. I should just put that every single time. It's on the website.
It's under the sauce.
We made fun of Sam enough yesterday. He brought it upon himself. I mean, he just like pressed his face against that window, which is gross. Sam was on one yesterday. He was fired up for Padres baseball.
It's a bold choice, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for
him. Go Aztecs. I don't know if his tongue touched the window or not. I cannot confirm nor deny Sam's tongue touched the window of the glass here. I got you. You were dead.
Yes, right at the end of the show.
So bad.
I was not expecting that at the end of the show yesterday.
I got you bad. Anyway. So that was that's the fantasy update for tonight. I will be asking Eddie Brown some questions about where I should go in this because he's coming up next. If you haven't had your draft yet, you should be having it now. These next couple of days are the perfect days to get your drafts in for fantasy football.
Do you know when you're picking?
8th.
Okay.
I don't mind that. That's okay.
Out of what? It's
12.
full.
It's 12 teams.
Oh, okay.
And in the 8th round, I know I have Brian Thomas Jr. sitting there ready to go.
As you do.
Yeah. I don't want to give out too many more secrets because these guys are diabolical. They'll be listening to try to get some edge on the draft. But how about this? So my friend Will, who used to work here, is in the league.
Mm-hmm.
He's going with Sushi Sam in the chat to the Aztec game tonight.
Okay.
That game's at 7. That other group chat with my friends, he's going to bring his laptop to the Aztec game.
Oh, gosh.
To try to do the fantasy football draft at the Aztec game.
Did we see how that worked with the fan in the bleachers at Wrigley a couple days ago?
No, I didn't see that.
Didn't go well for him.
Did it hit did a home run?
Oh, no, it didn't. No, a home run didn't hit, but he definitely got noticed on broadcast and they kept bringing him up.
Oh, go Aztecs. Oh, don't be like the Cubs fan.
There it is.
Yeah, but Sam's got he's got great seats. So he's got to be in a spot where he could post up at a table and stuff and have the laptop. I mean, what's the point of going to the game then? Just want the atmosphere of the Aztec game behind you when you draft in fantasy? I responded with, it's not going to help you, big dog. And he goes, well, I can't draft on my phone. Well, I don't know what to tell you. He even brought a mouse? That's crazy. I hope Will brings a mouse. I hope he's just like posted up,
that Cubs fan,
like an internet cafe.
Yeah, that Cubs
Aztec
fan had
game.
a full setup. Like he had his own little table, not like a table, like something he could put on his lap. He had his laptop. He had a full mouse. He was hooked up.
Was he drafting, or do you think he was working?
Most likely working.
What's the point of going to the game then?
I don't know.
Why spend money to work? That's the question. Am I asking questions I don't even know the answers for?
No, you're asking logical questions that only the answer would infuriate you, probably.
Yeah, that's probably it. Said he worked in finance. Well, good for him. Maybe that's why he can afford to do both of those things.
As you do.
Do the Cubs at least win?
I don't know. Speaking of the Cubbies right now, they're tied against the Giants 2-2 in the 4th inning right now. One of the games we're watching.
How about the Bill Chrismat today?
Yeah.
Doing well.
What was that, 5 innings?
Yeah.
The Bill threw today?
Diamondbacks up 6-4 on the Brewers. We're going to need that kind of energy against the Dodgers there. We're going to need that kind of energy against the Dodgers.
Let's not let this dissipate, please.
Yeah. Jake Waters, why work from home when you can work from the bleachers? You know what? I'm starting to understand it a little bit. We personally can't do that. That would be illegal. That's called disseminating without written consent of Major League Baseball.
5 2/3 out of Nabil Chrismat today.
Wow, Nabil. Okay, Nabil. See you, big dog. I want to give a couple. We got Aztec football tonight. We didn't really talk too much about it. I mean, to me, we're going to see what the new Aztecs offense looks like.
Yep.
They're going to be moving quickly. Sounds like they're going to run the ball a lot. They got a 3-headed monster back there, running back. I'm curious to watch this quarterback situation for San Diego State. I mean, they announced the starter already, but then, Sean Lewis was talking about before he wants kind of both guys to get some reps. One can run, one can throw. I think Stony Brook is a solid FCS team. But I think San Diego State, with the returning defensive players that they have, and Lucky Sutton being the number one back right now, paired with Byron Cardwell and Christian Washington, I think the Aztecs are going to have a good year. I think it's, it might start off a little slow, but it's going to be fun. I'm really interested to see how this team does tonight.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good team. And again, it'll be nice for me as a Long Islander to go out and see Stony Brook play out here. I can't root for them as a Hofstra fan, though. But it is going to be, it's the start of a new deal for San Diego State. You could say all you want, Aztec Fast last year, going into this year. You also have a head coach who's only focusing on head coaching
for the
right
first
now.
time. which is great.
And who's also under contract for the first time as well. So this is going to be a learning game. It's going to be a put the pieces together. This is very much going to be a tune-up game in the most realistic sense for San Diego State. Stony Brook is not going to be a pushover. They've always been a very, very solid D2 school. And now San Diego State, with everything that they're trying to implement, are really going to have to get it together enough to beat Stony Brook tonight.
We'll have the recap tomorrow. You going down to the press conference after?
Possibly. They do play the presser up in the press box as well. So
I'll be one. I wonder if I can stream this on my phone. Or the DirecTV app or something. It's on KUSI, right?
Yes, it is. KUSI and the Mountain West Network.
All right, I'm going to have to find a way to watch it tonight at my hotel. I think they're watching a movie or something, the team. I'd rather watch college football. I was like, college football's on, right? We could be watching college football. I mean, I love Remember the Titans. It's great. But, like, there's, like, actual football with, like, Don's alumni playing in said game. Like, okay. We'll see what we change there. When we come back, Eddie Brown will give you their latest that you need to know going into the draft, some draft trends, and we'll talk Padres baseball to finish up the show on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. 1:39 on a Thursday, not a Friday, Thursday, although it feels like a Friday right now. I'll be on again tomorrow, as we will be, or at least I will be, in San Jose getting ready for Dawn's football. Cathedral Catholic will play St. Francis tomorrow night in the Bay Area, so that's where I will be tomorrow, but I will be here, I'll be on the air with Frank tomorrow. That's coming up. Friday show. Friday show will recap Aztec football, get you a preview of the college football weekend. We'll talk about the Padres and the Twins. We'll go back to some of the Padres topics that we missed today. Maybe we'll recap what the fantasy draft was like last night or tonight. We'll have a couple of those things. Should be a fun time. Now, to finish up our show, before we talk about maybe some more Padres stuff, we got our fantasy football guru, Eddie Brown, joining us. Get your last second draft tips that you might need going into draft night, draft weekend. I got a draft tonight. I got 2 drafts on Sunday. So time to lock in with Eddie Brown. Eddie, what's going on? How's your Thursday?
Braden, I'm doing great. I'm also in the thick of studying. I have two drafts tonight. They're my first drafts of the year. And then I finish up. I have one on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday.
All right. Sunday, Monday, 2. How many leagues are you in?
5. I've narrowed it down to 5. And those are the core 5. I had to narrow it down.
How many were you in before?
I'm not sure I want to talk about that.
Oh no. We had an intervention. There was a problem. We gotta dock it down a little bit. All right, that's fair enough. I can't do more than I really don't want to do more than 2. But I got roped into a third, so I'm in 3 leagues, and the thing is they're like totally different leagues, all 3 of them. So the draft strategy changes a little bit. We've talked about this the last couple of weeks, but make sure you know your rules before you draft. Seems to be a big cause of a lot of problems. Don't just go off any draft, guides, but last second draft advice for a lot of people that are drafting this weekend.
I mean, by now everybody knows. They probably have a first round plan. If you're picking in the top 2 or 3, you're probably thinking about Jamar Chase or John Robinson, or you're going back to Saquon Barkley. Well, if you're at the back end, you've narrowed your list down to probably 5 guys. So if the last day or 2 or whatever, right before leading up to the draft, that's probably when you should focus on okay, who are my core sleepers? Who are these guys that I can draft, in the 8th round, the 9th round, the 10th round, or maybe even the last couple of picks that nobody's really on, or I can just take a flyer on, to enhance the depth in my team. Because what if, we've been talking about Barkley and the fact he had almost 500 touches last year. What if that doesn't work out? Well, the best way to give you some insurance is to draft well in the later rounds. And usually that's where you can get an advantage over the rest of your league mates. Is usually most of the league mates are thinking about, I need to get great starters, and then the rest I'll just kind of make up as I go along. This is where you can gain a little bit of advantage if you take it to the end.
We're talking with Eddie Brown, who joins us on the Braden Surprenant show. He's our fantasy football guru, writes for the Union Tribune, does a lot of stuff for NFL draft coverage and fantasy sports. So going into this week, as you have seen from probably a lot of mocks, a lot of different drafts, what are some of the trends that you're noticing, or some of the surprise trends you're noticing as leagues start to draft?
It's kind of interesting. One of the things I pay attention to every year is obviously coaching. Where are the hot coordinators ending up? Are they going to be able to replicate? Because obviously they're going to try to replicate whatever success they had that got them the job. So a guy like Ben Johnson, right, obviously turned the Lions into an offensive juggernaut. Is he going to be able to do that in Chicago? A guy like Liam Cohen had a lot of success with Baker Mayfield in Tampa Bay. Is he going to be able to replicate that in Jacksonville? And those are situations where it's well, if you believe that they can do that, or if they're going to come close, okay, well, Baker Mayfield had a career year. So is Trevor Lawrence going to have a career year? Because Trevor Lawrence is getting drafted, I think, as the 20th quarterback in fantasy. So the trends I'm noticing that the Bears are undervalued. I think Ben Johnson is going to have that offense at some point this year roaring. And whether it translates into wins year one, I know there's going to be a lot of pressure for that. Whether it translates into wins or not, I think it's going to translate into points, which translates into fantasy points. I think the same thing with the Jaguars. They're undervalued. I also look at a guy like Cortland Sutton. You know, what's interesting about him is that he was a top 10 wide receiver in fantasy last year, and Bo Nix, that was his rookie season. I think he was even higher in the last 10 games as Sean Payton kind of took the reins off of Nix a little bit. He's getting drafted outside the top 20 at his position going in on I think average ADP. So there's you talk about sleepers, there's some value there. If a guy produced top 10 numbers last year for a rookie quarterback, he's getting drafted outside the top 20. Do you think the Broncos are falling off in year two? Is there something that happened I didn't know about? So that's something I noticed too. There's some undervaluing, and it's all about going in the last few days, figuring out where that undervalue is.
The other thing too is like with certain leagues with keepers, and there's a lot of different keeper rules out there. And, you know, for me specifically, our keeper rules as follows. You can keep anybody that was drafted in the 5th round or later from the year before. You had to stay on your roster the entire season. And then if you pick that keeper, they go in the same round in this year's draft. I'm going with Brian Thomas Jr. He was a 8th round pick for me last year, so he'll be in the 8th round. How do you navigate when you know, you have keepers that might be in deeper rounds where you already know you got a receiver in the bag? Do you think receiver early? Do you try to like overstack, or do you go with, well, I already know I got a receiver, let me go with a running back? How much of that is in play for people that are in keeper leagues?
Man, that's you already got money in the bank if you got Brian Thomas in the 8th round. You know, that really does so that's where I would start with a draft like that. So if I'm in a keeper league, I'm not this year. Actually I am. We do one particular keeper, but I don't think I'm keeping anybody. If you're in a situation, that kind of is the first question you ask. So like you said, you have a 1st round pick, but you're basically getting him in 8th round. So you got immense value there. So you can double up. You can draft another top tier wide receiver. Is probably a good chance you're going to be the only team or one of the few teams in your league that has that just locked in, and you can focus on other positions early that you might not be able to. Or do you focus on those positions knowing that you have in the bank? I'm of the, like, once again, the rules kind of give you the answer. It's like, okay, is it PPR? If it is PPR, are you starting 3 receivers and a flex? Are you starting 2 receivers and a flex? Those are the types of things that you know, the data points that you need to really kind of focus on to make that decision. I love the idea of doubling up or tripling up on a position and just loading up, and then that way, whatever surplus you end up with in season becomes a trade asset. And so whatever deficiency you have in your roster, you could possibly take that one of those trade assets and try to fix it that way. And I like to have that type of ammunition once we get through the first month of the season, and, you know, all the dust is settled, and now we have, you know, more data to go on to see who's actually either breaking out or somebody's falling off, or is there somebody who's going to bounce back after a bad first month.
We got a couple of people in the chat that are asking questions, so I might ask one of them just for you know, a little QA for you, Eddie. One fan in the chat is picking 8th in his league on Sunday. He said, would you rather go? And this actually was an interesting question because my brother had this exact same question as he was trying to fantasy football draft while playing softball. That was a story in itself, Eddie. 8th in the league for the draft on Sunday. There's been a lot of questions about, do you go Derrick Henry or do you go with Puka Nacua? Puka Nacua obviously missed a lot of time last year. Derrick Henry up there in age, but has done well now in Baltimore. A little bit of a different situation than Tennessee. I have seen that potential pair a lot for that back end of the 1st round.
Man, that's a good question, because the question with Nacua is how much does Devontae Adams, you know, kind of step into his production. I think Nacua obviously is the number 1 guy there, but I think Adams still has a lot left in the tank as well. I love Henry though. Like, the thing is I kind of feel like I contradict myself, because I'm telling people, hey, beware of Saquon Barkley. But Henry put up a lot of touches last year too and had a lot of production. Usually that falls off. It's just the difference between Henry and Barkley is that Henry's outside of 1 year, and he came back even stronger than ever. Outside of 1 year, 1 injury, he's almost proven indestructible, and he's kind of an outlier when it comes to running backs in the history of the NFL. If you can get him at the back end of the 1st round, I think that's a hard value to pass up, especially with the equity he has and the touches he has in that offense. I would favor getting a guy like Ashton Genty in the fresher legs. I would favor getting a receiver like Malik Neighbors at that point over Nacua. But if you're picking between Henry and Nacua, I'm probably going to go with Henry.
We're talking with Eddie Brown from the San Diego Union Tribune. He is our fantasy football expert that joins us each and every Thursday. Obviously next week we'll have the game to talk about, do some daily fantasy mixed in as well. But when looking at, this particular list, there's a couple of names that stick out to me. It's always hit and miss. And a guy like Christian McCaffrey is one of those guys that when he's on and not injured, it's a big year. But he is very injury prone. That's a name that really sticks out. How are you treating Christian McCaffrey in this year's draft?
Oh man, it's one of those things where, like you said, when he's on the field, he's money. No question. It's just about how long is he going to be able to stay on the field, and what is your backup plan? You have to consider him any time after the top, probably 4 or 5 picks. If you do draft him, then you also have to prepare for the fact that you might not have him very long. So you gotta draft. You might want to load up at running back. You might want to definitely double up in your first 2 picks at running back, and you might want to grab some flyers in the later rounds just to secure that position, just in case. But you'll know early on, whether that Achilles and everything that he was dealing with last year is better. And obviously, I think the good thing about it is that the Niners are going to have to focus on getting him the ball and getting guys like George Kittle the ball, because their wide receiver room is just completely wrecked right now. And so it's kind of turned into a situation where their offense has become more concentrated. And that's the 2 things you're looking for in fantasy. You want volume and you want a concentrated offense, so that player is getting locked into the volume.
Last thing I have for you, Eddie, in terms of the, kind of draft strategy going into this week and this weekend for a lot of people that are drafting in fantasy football. We talk about rookies all the time and rookies that might be impact guys this year. What about sophomores? What are some players that had really good years as rookies that might not be able to match what they did last year?
Oh man, that's a good question. You know what? I'm kind of wondering if Brock Bowers is going to have, I had extremely high expectations for him last year and he blew them out of the water. I'm wondering now that they have a guy like Ashton Jeanty in that offense, now that they've added some decent receivers to go along with Jacoby Myers, and they actually have a functional quarterback, if Brock Bowers is going to get the type of volume that he did as a rookie. Doesn't mean he's going to play any worse, but he might not put up the same type of production simply because there's just more options in that offense. So that's somebody that I'm definitely looking at potentially being quote unquote a disappointment, even though he probably still has a great year and probably still ends up at the top 5 tight end. But if you're drafting him thinking, oh man, he's going to put up wide receiver 1 numbers, that might not be the case this year.
Eddie, we appreciate the time as always. Next week, I'm sure we'll talk about how do you start your lineup after drafting it, any last-minute moves you might have to make, as we got actual NFL football to talk about next week. We appreciate the time as always.
No, it's going to be awesome, Braden. You take care.
Eddie Brown joining us on the Braden Surprenant Show, writes for the San Diego Union Tribune, sports reporter for the SDUT, specializes in the NFL draft and fantasy football. We'll have him on each and every Thursday to get you all your fantasy football needs. Eddie's always great. I think I'm ready to go. I'm going to be locked in on this draft here, Frank.
Well, there you go. You got plenty of time to think about it. You got time to set up a draft board and get yourself ready to go.
I already printed my draft board. That's in my backpack, ready to go. The goal is to just get to the airport on time.
Yes.
I'm going to go home and get my stuff.
Which is going to be a little bit more entertaining now that it's raining.
Yeah, fun stuff. Good thing my flight's only an hour and 25 minutes.
Be safe, please.
I will. I'll fly safe, and I'll talk to you tomorrow from San Jose, Frank.
Yes, you will.
Frank, good work as always. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. Thanks again for tuning in to the Braden Surprenant Show. Gwen and Chris coming up next. The replay of the roundtable after that. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Go Aztecs. Aztec football starts tonight. We'll have a recap on tomorrow's show.